It's that time of year where the leaves are beginning to change colors and we start transitioning from fall to winter. But did you know the changing of the seasons can also cause depression? Joining us today to talk about this is Sanford Health psychiatrist, Dr. Alicia Elliott. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Lisa. I think one of the more difficult times about this time of year, you know, we all enjoy the leaves changing and going out and being in the fall weather. But as the days start to shorten, I think most people would agree that you are feeling a little bit more tired, maybe a little bit more run down. You might be eating more like snacky foods than what you usually do. So what in the world is going on? And this time of year, when we run low on light, especially in the northern latitudes where we are, our body starts to go through certain changes, which is a natural process. Our body's reacting to the decreased light. As far as a seasonal affective disorder, we're talking about potentially increase of depression symptoms, but then also other clinical disorders that I treat, such as like anxiety and bipolar disorder, we can see a change in as well. So for many individuals, as far as their symptoms, when would their potential symptoms come on? And you can either have a clinical depression, like something that I would treat, or you can be feeling more run down, more tired, having a low mood. Those are going to be symptoms that aren't going to necessarily need treatment on my part. But when you're feeling those day in and day out, especially the lower mood, not wanting to do things that you previously enjoyed, just kind of feeling really low down, blue, maybe for a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks at a time, that's when you want to go in and talk with your doctor and say, you know, something just isn't right. I have some concerns about my symptoms going on. We don't know the direct cause of the symptoms. Why are they coming in on the fall? They typically last through the fall. They may get a little bit worse throughout the winter, you know, as our days shorten. I think the shortest day of the year is coming up in January, so I usually have a countdown towards that, because then on the other side, things get a little bit easier when the days start to get longer. But when my patients start to come in, we talk about how are we going to help you get through the winter.
I know you mentioned when I was talking to you in the break that you prepare for this. You've been preparing already for a while, maybe since August, knowing, I mean, we know it's bound to happen. The days get shorter and all of a sudden you start feeling more blue. How do you know when it's you need to talk to somebody? I mean, you kind of touched on that, because almost everybody, I feel like, deals with this a little bit.
Yep. So it's more of the pattern development. So you're having, you're maybe oversleeping or not sleeping enough. You're eating those starchy carbohydrate type foods, the snacky foods. You're having the lower mood. You're not wanting to do different things. You're just feeling pretty much day in and day out. You're feeling pretty low, pretty down. And this is lasting for a week, maybe 2 weeks at a time. That's when you're starting to think that pattern development. That's when you're starting to think, do I need to come in and talk to my doctor? And the longer those symptoms go on, the more likely it is that you need to speak with someone.
Are some people more susceptible than others?
Yeah. So people that have a diagnosis of depression, have a diagnosis of anxiety, bipolar disorder, are going to be more susceptible to these symptom changes and potential worsening of their already known disorder. We see different age groups. Children and the elderly, actually, we don't see as much symptoms in them as what we do in older teens, younger 20s, and then 30s. So that's the age group, probably the older teens to the 30s, where we see more changes.
Interesting. So what are some of the treatments for this?
There's a wide variety of treatments. I think one of the nervous things about patients coming to see me is, are they going to put me on a medication? And that's not necessarily the case. We don't have to put you on a medication. They certainly can help. And people with the seasonal affective aspect of depression, we can actually manage them on maybe 6 months of the year you're on a medication, then we can remove you, depending on the case, we could remove you from medications. But I start talking with my patients about what what they want. Do you want medication management? Do you want to engage in counseling or psychotherapy, talking with someone? I actually try to start psychotherapy first. Honestly, I think everyone could use a counselor. If you don't have problems, I still think everyone could benefit from it. And then one of the other things that you'll see in the stores is these light boxes, or these, they also call them mood lights. And mood lights, light boxes, can help with seasonal affective disorder. It's one of the mainstays of treatments. They're relatively affordable, getting a lot more affordable. So one of the things that you want to look for in a light box is something called lumens or luxes. That's the power of the light produced from the box. You want about 10,000 luxes or 10,000 lumens for that device to be effective, more effective for you. You can get less lumens, but you got to spend more time in front of that thing, which no one really wants to do.
Interesting.
And it's also something you can talk with your doctor about. And it's not something that you have to do year round. It's just when those number of hours of the light decrease.
So if you're feeling this, now is the time, a great time
Yes.
just to talk to your doctor and see if this is something you're suffering from, and many of us do. And this is the area. It's not, you're not alone. It's kind of where we live a little bit too.
It is. It's very much in the area that we live. And any time that we're talking about mental health, if you're feeling low, down, sad, it's not uncommon to develop thoughts of wanting your life to be over, wishing your life to be over. So please, if you ever have any type of suicidal thoughts, there are national hotlines available. Those people do a great job. But please seek emergency medical care if you're having suicidal thoughts.
Doctor, thank you so much for coming in today. I appreciate your time. Stay with us. Coming up next here on North Dakota Today, a support group for young people who have experienced some form of loss to connect over coffee.